right, everyone, we're going to get started here in honor of your time. Thank you for coming out tonight for our second senior parent night. This is called the Road to the Cathedral. And so we're going to go over some end of school year information, do our final academic push with you, and talk about the actual graduation logistics from a very high level, just some things that you can get ready and prepare for as we go along here. So first we're going to start with the prayer. So we'll do the prayer, St. Thomas Aquinas. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Grant your grace, O God, Okay, so first up we're going to go through some key calendar dates of note. Obviously coming up we've got spring break. No surprise to any of you, I'm sure. Hopefully you're all going somewhere warm and staying healthy. We do have a late start coming up on Wednesday, and that's important for this meeting for a very specific reason, and that the seniors are going to be going through their senior service project lottery on Wednesday morning. So your son, despite the fact that we do have a late start, needs to be here by 8 o'clock, despite what they tell you. 8 o'clock, they're here. Mr. Seidel will be conducting the lottery. For those of them that have fulfilled their requirements up to this point, they go to the head of that lottery line, and then any students that still have hours that are outstanding, there's a process for ordering them, and then they get to select their agencies for their projects. Question?
But some were already matched and they don't have to be here at 8, I heard? Some, like my kids are.
I'm not aware of that. Typically they all come.
I think some are.
Okay. If that's the case, Mr. Seidel would handle that on an individual basis, but I think we give them notes too, so it's usually a draw for them. Any other questions about the lottery itself? I'll talk a little bit more about it when I go through the senior service project requirements, but that's this Wednesday. So again, send your boys here on Wednesday morning, please. Thank you. In April, we've got BFI coming up. That's our brigade formal inspection. Again, that is a non-optional day. Most of the seniors will be happy to be here. It's a pretty relaxed day. Those of you who've been here through the 4 years, you understand that this is the day that, whether it's the Marines or others that come in and inspect the boys, it's a fun day because they get to relax in the classrooms and kind of fool around. They eat some food, they play some video games as they prepare to be inspected. And then it gets really serious when they get pulled out of their platoon rooms into one of the gyms to be inspected. This year it will be the Marines. And then they get to go back to their platoon rooms and do what they do. That happens, and then we pull everybody together at the end of the day. It's only about a half day. We'll go till roughly 12:15, 12:30. I'll send out guidance on the timeline of that day. Then we do release the students. The middle schoolers are on their own schedule. Buses still run that day. Activity buses will still run that day. And then we do professional development for the faculty and staff that afternoon. But that's about a half day, and that's coming up in April here, April 4th? April 2nd, excuse me. And then we got the Father-Son banquet. My son, Steve. Do you want to say anything about the Father-Son banquet?
Sign up. It's a Sunday. Pat Eilers will be here. He's a 1985 graduate of STA. I've been told he's the only cadet to ever play in the NFL. So I think fathers and dads will enjoy hearing from him. He's also currently on the board of directors. The event starts at 4:30. The banquet starts at 5.
Excellent.
Join us.
Thank you. Yeah, highly recommend that event.
Yeah, social hour at 4:30, banquet at 5.
Okay. Easter break is down there for you. This overnight senior retreat, we've pretty much taken care of all the conflicts we have, mostly with sports. We were able to reschedule some games, specifically a lacrosse game. They're actually playing Stillwater. It was going to be here. They're going to go to Stillwater and play a little bit earlier. Our retreat location is Osceola, Wisconsin, which is about 20 minutes from Stillwater. So that worked out really well. The boys will be able to participate in full if your guy is a lacrosse player. That'll be overnight. I don't think this group went there as freshmen overnight. No. Tina's shaking her head, good. So this will be a really fun experience for them. We typically bookended the high school experience with the freshman overnight retreat at a location, and then the senior. This has been a really powerful experience. That's the feedback that we've received in the last couple of years. We've put a lot of resources into making it meaningful, making it about their individual and their collective experience as a class, and the guys walk away from it just really feeling good about each other, about themselves, about the rest of the year. So we're excited to do that. That's April 16th, 17th, that's a Thursday, they come back Friday. When they get back on Friday, we're gonna release them. So we'll be back probably, I wanna say probably about 11 o'clock if I recall the timeline, and then we'll let them go home. So more information to come about that as we near it. Community Auction Weekend, first weekend of May. Remember that Friday night is family night, and we invite all families, kids, anyone associated with the academy, just come on in and have a good time. AP exams. Leading up to AP exams, we will have opportunities for study sessions. So if your son is in AP class or multiple AP classes, those teachers will be coordinating study sessions during the flex time, during open B blocks. Probably really soon after spring break, actually, through April, leading into AP exams. Individual teachers may request specific study sessions outside of the school day. They might offer a weekend session, an evening session. Some of that, when we talk to the faculty, we will push them to communicate that to families as they request it. We've got the Mother-Son Luncheon. That will take place May 12th. That is an early release for the rest of the school. And then the seniors will come and meet their mothers in the lunchroom at 12:15 for that, which is another very special day around here. The last day of class, mark it down, May 15th. May 15th. Anybody know how many days that is from now? I didn't count, I'm sorry. But it'll be here before you know it, especially when we get back from spring break. The boys know it. They're excited for it, and they're feeling it's a little bit bittersweet for sure. So we start to see some of that spilling out, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. But that's the 15th. Millball is the next night, the 16th. And on the 18th, we've got military awards, and that's grades 9 through 12, but it's dominated mostly by seniors. And if your son has ever received an award at that night, it's one of my favorite nights here. It's a pretty special night. Senior service projects, again, that's the timeline. I'll talk a little bit more specifically about the logistics of that and expectations, but May 18th through the 29th, during that period there. June 1st, we've got senior academic awards and baccalaureate. So the academic awards will be by invitation. We do it electronically, correct? So you'll receive an email notification that your son is being awarded an academic award. That's at 6. And then we invite the entire senior class for the baccalaureate mass, which is at 7:30. It's here, yes. Yep. The 3rd, that's a tentative date, but that's probably the date, where we do the introduction to and welcome to the Alumni Association. We started this a couple of years ago. Couldn't believe how popular it became with the boys. The Alumni Association does a great job. They bring in a speaker. They give them their challenge coins. I don't know if any of you have ever seen those. Very cool. The rule is if you ever don't have your challenge coin on you and you're out in public at an establishment, you pay. But it's really cool. It's a great symbol of the academy. It is designed, it's got a very specific STA design to it. The boys love receiving them. We've been giving them out to alums since we started this from all sorts of years. But that'll be that morning, and then we do a graduation rehearsal and practice here. So we set up the gym upstairs like the Cathedral, just because they get nervous, believe it or not. They get very, very nervous on graduation night, and that's the 4th. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that specifically in a minute. So, but if you go to the next slide, please.
Next one?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we can talk about, there we go. Like I said, the lottery selection is this Wednesday. I want to be very clear on this. The only excused absences for senior service projects are scheduled games, so things that are beyond their control, family celebrations, so weddings, graduations, things that are absolute emergencies. Of course, we understand that. But Mr. Seidel will send you specific guidance. No elective surgeries during that time. You get a lot of interesting surgeries that take place during senior service projects or requests. Just things like that. These agencies depend on us during this time. And for us to continue our relationship with them, we really need to be dependable. And we serve some incredibly disadvantaged populations, and so we take this very, very seriously. And the boys' experience is a very positive, really a transformative experience, is what we get back from them. So, so they get 50 hours there, and that completes their requirement for senior service. But if you have any questions about it, Mr. Seidel would be your guy to talk to, Joe Seidel, and he's happy to do that. But again, lottery on Wednesday. All right, we'll talk about graduation. June 4th. It starts at 7:30. There's mass before graduation ceremony. Most people, pro tip, most people go to mass, or many people like to go to mass before, because it is first come, first serve for seating. Unless you are fortunate at the auction and you purchase a pew, of which we've started to do now, everyone else is first come, first serve. The boys line up in the basement at 6:30. Like I said, we'll walk through graduation practice on the 3rd, on the alumni initiation day. But next week, you're going to get an email from me, might actually be at the end of this week, and we need to confirm diploma names. So the formal name that you want on your son's diploma. We don't make any assumptions about what specifically you want. So we need to be very clear on that. We'll send you your son's name, and then we'll give you, I think, probably a timeline of responding. And if we don't hear, then we're just going to go forward and have the diplomas printed. But so that'll be coming to you very soon. This is from the business office. Just a reminder that all tuition and fees need to be paid by May 15th. If that is an issue for anyone, just contact Pam Kunkel. She's our business director, and she'll work with you on that. But you have to at least make contact with her on that.
Brian, what time is mass? Is it at 6:30?
I think mass at 6.
Is the mass like for St. Thomas?
No.
No,
It's a
it's
public
just,
mass.
Oh,
Yeah. And so as soon as, and you'll see this too if you go to mass, as soon as that happens, we've got the honor guard there, and as soon as it ends, they are running down the aisles with the rope to rope off the sections for the students, to rope off the sections for the faculty, so you'll know exactly. So another tip, just take a look, survey the landscape, let them do that first. Because often people will go all the way up, and then when we rope it off, then they have to move back, and then they're further back than they had wished to be in the first place. So just know that the honor guard will be there roping off. It's the middle 2 sections, as far back as we've got 100 kids. So it'll be 10 rows roughly for the students, and then another, I want to say 13, maybe 13 rows, 12 rows for faculty, roughly. Those are my estimates. But so just know that we'll be going that far back, and then we've got a couple in the front from the auction. Any questions about just kind of the logistics or dynamics of that setup?
Brian, is there handicapped seating there? for
There is.
parents?
There
In
is.
wheelchairs specifically?
So as we're facing the front of the church, off to my right, I know there's handicap seating up there for wheelchair, and actually I think to the left there is one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, up front. Any others?
Q Academics, talking about graduation. Joe Seidel and I spoke to the boys just about 2.5 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, there was a senior meeting. And we just took the opportunity, though it was mainly revolving around military. We decided to just remind the boys of the graduation requirements as well as the senior service requirements. And Mr. Seidel noted that the early dismissal and clarified that. So I think hopefully most of them are clear on that and don't have questions. Again, if they have questions on the graduation requirement piece of that, the service hours, please have them see Mr. Seidel right away. We got most of the questions answered. And then following that meeting, I had quite a few seniors stop by my office because I had reminded them that if there are challenges, if they are concerned about a class, especially a required class, and in this handout, the graduation requirements for each of the courses are there, to come and see me so that I can help them, advocate for them, or help them organize themselves for the final 2 quarters of the year and go through pieces. And so there were a couple questions, but I said, no Hail Mary passes at the end. We need to figure this out now, and I'll walk this walk with you, but I need you to finish strong. And if you need additional support, if we need to change course with something, then let me know. And they were honest, and they came forward. What I wanted to remind them of was specifically the 4-year military leadership component. So for whatever reason, this is my 4th year here at the academy, it is the first class that they decide that they just don't need to finish strong in for the remainder of the year. I remind them that this is absolutely one of the 4-year requirements, and it should be one of the easiest requirements to fulfill for them. And so, not all of them, but they are like, what, it's required? Yes, it's St. Thomas Academy, it's one of our pillars. And so, make sure, please just reinforce, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but remind your sons to be in school every day, to be on time, and to finish strong. They asked about college acceptances, like could that really happen? Could a college rescind my admission? And it's half joking, half not. What if my GPA, who's typically maybe a 3.8 or 4.0 student, what if my GPA dips to 2.6? I mean, that's fine, isn't it? And the 3 of us will say, absolutely not. They may not rescind your admission, but they certainly could rescind some scholarship dollars. And more colleges are asking for 2nd semester grades or 3rd quarter grades. And so I reminded the students to do their best work and put their best foot forward. And if they need some help, to come and see me, see the counseling team, or their teachers. Mostly it's motivation. There are a couple that have been struggling through along the way, and I said we can still work through that. But 2nd semester grades do matter, as do AP exams. And so if they are in AP classes, they are required to take the AP exam. And though at this point what happens sometimes, and I know Mrs. Gutierrez and Mr. Erickson can speak to this more fully, but a lot of times they'll think, well, now that I've decided on my college, they're not going to accept that AP credit, so it doesn't really matter how I do in the exam. And I remind them that AP course is weighted differently. It's a 1.2 weight. Therefore, it does impact their GPA a bit more than some of their regular classes. In addition to that, their grades, are tied up in that, and so many colleges are asking for 2nd semester grades. So just to remind them to take that seriously, we give them ample time to study. We want them to finish that class strong as well, and just not tank their 2nd semester grades, really. And so they listened, they were very respectful, and we mitigated some conflicts then afterwards. But if there are specific questions that you have, if you're noticing that there's a slip, or they are disengaging at home, or you're feeling concerned, either that your son is going to make it to graduation, and or just concerned about his GPA in a downward trend, let one of us know and we can intervene as well. I don't want to scare you, it's not that, but it is a little bit where it's right now. Then they realize, because we did say a D on the transcript, you will need to notify your college that you know, you received a D in one of these classes. And so they then kind of wide-eyed look at us and say, oh, really? And we say, yes, absolutely. So if there's any message to carry home with the Finish Strong, it is that and you can send them to us so that they'll say, no, I don't believe you. Okay, well, go see Ms. McTeller or college counseling. So required classes are listed on here. The additional graduation requirements, write and deliver a senior speech, and then the community service hours and the submission of a college application that they do with the college counseling team here. Any questions about
So when is the quarter end?
the quarter end? It is Friday after spring break.
Thank you.
Quarter grades are not transcripted, they are semester grades, but we will publish the quarter grade reports, and those get pushed out through Unified Classroom. Any other questions on academics? Let me know, email me, call me, call any of us if you need anything in the upcoming weeks. We will get there, it's exciting, it's hard to see that right now. The boys, of course, think they're almost there, like, oh, next week, but we have quite a ways to go still.
Michelle,
Yes.
when are the second semester final exams?
They are the last week, or the first week of June, the last week of school.
Oh, then, so not for
Oh,
the.
for seniors,
seniors.
for seniors, there are some, the AP exams, and then some of the classes have exams. You can see in the handbook, and the teachers will push that out. I'll put a fuller communication out about that. But most of the teachers, depending on their standing in the class, they won't have like a final exam. There are a few that will. All of the AP classes, of course, the AP exams. And so what you'll hear from your sons if they are in AP classes is, okay, I took my AP Spanish exam, and now I don't have that class anymore. And that is accurate. So once the exam is over, they do not attend that AP class any longer. Unless there was some sort of group project wrap-up or something. Most of the senior, like I know in theology, for example, they'll have a senior project that they're working on, and then, or presentation, and then those are wrapped up before their last day. Yes.
The AP exams, do we already, do the boys know? Like the dates, when's the AP Spanish exam?
They
Have they already
do,
decided?
yep, they do. It is on each of the class web pages, that their specific classes. The fuller schedule is on the College Board website, and we have it linked on our website as well. So you can see it under academics, and I'll ask Deborah to put it on top of the communications page as well. It's on college counseling as well. Any other questions? Just let me know if there's anything you need. Thank you.
All right, so college counseling. So for us, our to-do list that we are talking to your sons about is to keep us updated. Sometimes the boys will catch them in the hallway and will say, hey, did you ever hear back from X college? Like, oh, I thought you knew. Some colleges do give us lists of what the decisions are. Other colleges do not. So we like to hear it from the boys if they've been admitted or deferred or denied. And if they have been deferred, then it's a good conversation for us to have with them so we can gauge, is this a college that they really are still interested in attending? So then we can have a game plan to hopefully change that defer decision to an admit decision. But if we don't know the decision, we can't help them with a game plan to figure out how to turn that positively. So again, encourage your boys, if they haven't, ask them if they have talked to us or kept us updated. When we know of information, we keep Naviance updated. So again, just encourage them to come chat with us. We also have been telling the boys that several of your sons have applied to numerous colleges, and they might be, that list may have shrunk to 2 or 3 colleges that they're trying to decide between. If few colleges have already fallen off their list, we strongly encourage that the boys email the admissions office and let them know they want to withdraw their app. Right now on the college side, they're figuring out enrollment management. So they're trying to figure out, they have this many admits, this many students that they're going to come, this many students are still waiting for. So it just helps the admissions office know if these 5 students aren't going to come, perhaps they're able to admit more students off that wait list, and it could be your friend. I mean, it does not necessarily replace one for another, but generally it does help the admissions office know how many more positive admission decisions they can make when your sons tell the colleges they're withdrawing their application. Again, it's still fine to be, not sure yet. Again, it's only if your son knows for sure they don't want to go to a particular college, just email that college. Also, we stress to your sons to check their email often. Right now, last minute scholarships, or inviting them to campus for special events, or if they were deferred, they might email them. It's really important if they've been deferred to a top college, they really need to be checking their email and respond to that email, because they're trying to, again, the college is trying to gauge of everyone who's been deferred, who's still really interested in them. Because they're not going to waste a positive admissions decision on someone that actually has no desire to go to their school.
In some cases, when they're emailing those students, they will put a set date that they expect a response as well. So it's very important that they are checking, again, their email or their admissions portals on their individual sites as well. So we stress that because, again, they might think that they said, oh, I've responded, and yeah, I'm definitely interested in that school that deferred me. But if that deadline passes and they haven't communicated with the college, then that college will just withdraw them automatically if they don't receive any type of response.
For some colleges, you can complete the housing application even though you haven't decided for sure you want to go there. You got to read the fine print. Some colleges will allow you to put a deposit down, and as long as you tell that college by May 1 that you no longer want to go there, they'll give you the housing deposit back. And for some colleges, it's more desirable housing, gets filled up quickly, or some colleges don't even guarantee housing. So again, read the fine print because every college is different. Scholarship award notices, I said, really important when you get those. Hopefully, March is usually, if you haven't received them from the colleges your son's been admitted, usually it's mid-March when a lot of those awards go out that hadn't yet been released. It's a good time for you all to sit down and cost compare and figure out what exactly your out-of-pocket's going to be for that particular for each of the different colleges. And again, emails. Colleges are going to email you. Once you've told the college you are going to attend, they're going to send you emails about orientation, completing placement exams, and for the larger institutions, if you don't answer those emails right away, you're going to get a later orientation date, and that might mean you're going to have a first semester schedule that's kind of wonky because you're going to get left with whatever classes are left. So again, really important, check the email.
Or really scare the boys and say you're going to end up with 8 a.m. classes.
And typically, once the student has decided that they're going to go to a particular college, they're going to have them set up their college email address, and that's where all that information is going to be regarding housing and scholarships, orientation. So the portal, set up their college emails. Questions? Great. So spring visits. So again, we know that many of your sons, many of your boys are thinking about a tour between several different schools, and there are lots of college visits that are planned. So like Michelle just said, we really want your sons to be on campus as much as possible. As you know, when they miss an AP class, it's really hard for them to catch up. So we do allow the students to take 2 days of excused absence. And before they go to a college visit, it's the expectation that they come get a form from our office and let us know that they're going to a college visit, and they also have to let the store know that they're going to be out of the building for a couple of days, or however long their visit is. And then when they come back from the visit, it's great for us to have a conversation with them and hear about how their visit went.
I will say, just to interject, the one piece from teachers that I hear about, especially our AP teachers, if it's a faux college visit, they actually are going, but they're going with a buddy or they're going with friends. They're really honest about that at school, so they brag about going, and I'm not really interested in there, I'm going with my friends. So just please help them discern what are actual college visits for themselves, because it could negatively impact their grade, especially in those AP classes. So just a word of caution.
And finally, so May 1 is a confirmation deadline, so your sons do have until May 1 to make that final decision. And that's the day that we're also going to take the college swag picture. So we will keep reminding your sons as we lead up to May 1. We take the picture in the court, and that's the day it's our uniform for them, and they get to wear whatever their swag of whatever college they're planning to go to. We've usually in the past have had the date on May 2nd or right after, because some boys are waiting till 11:50 on May 1. But unfortunately, AP exams start that next, May 1 is a Friday, and AP exams start on that following Monday. And I try to take the picture in the middle of the day, after school, but that spring is really crazy with sports and this activity, that activity, so really 7:45 is the best time to do it. And I really hate to have that picture taken right before an AP exam. I don't think it's fair to the boys. So May 1, so hopefully by May 1, what's the difference between May 1 at 7:45 and May 1 at 11:50, right? They should make their decision. So order their apparel and have it ready for the picture.
Scholarships. So all scholarships are listed in the graduation program. So any scholarship that your son has received from an institution, we have in the past published the name of that scholarship. We never publish the amount, although we'd like to know the amount so that we can get a good internal idea of what a student can anticipate if they elected to go and apply to a school. It just helps us kind of comb these conversations, and I think we're also looking for consistency with universities so that, okay, last year our boys received about this amount of money from this particular institution, now we got half, okay, what's going on? Or now we got twice as much, what's going on? So it allows us to kind of look at that. But more importantly, we want to be able to recognize the boys for the scholarships they have received from these institutions. So we have had some families as well that have said, you know what, we're not going to report, we'll report it to you, but we don't want anything published underneath our son's name. That's completely fine as well. We do want to do what you wish. But I think it's a nice opportunity, A, for us to collect information, and B, to kind of celebrate the boys' accomplishments of getting a scholarship from, you know, St. Thomas or Creighton or, you know, Marquette or the University of Minnesota or Miami. You know, a lot of different schools that your sons are considering that, you know, we want to be able to recognize them for. So it is at that link that's super complicated, but there are opportunities to log in, fill out the form once, submit it, and then log in again and fill out the form again. So it just is basically like a data retrieval center. So we do ask that you do that. Again, what it allows us to do is look at all scholarships, not only ones from the institution, but maybe one that a student received outside of an institution as well. So if you have sons that are applying for outside scholarships, such as, you know, the Mountain Dew Extreme whatever scholarship, you can put that one in there as well, and we'll add that to the file too.
The link is in the, from the weekly newsletter, and we will email this presentation out of your live link as well. And if it's easier for you to upload the letter, you have the opportunity, there's the Google Doc form, you can upload the award letter. If it's still, you'd rather just email it to us, we'll take email too. So however's easier for you, we just like to have the data, please. And for clarification, even if your son's not planning to attend that institution, you can still let us know that scholarship and we still list it. We don't just list the scholarship the college they're planning to go, to attend.
Oh, my favorite slide. So we often talk about this. I think we've talked about this the last few years, just on social media in general. It continues throughout the senior year. We do want them to have a frame of mind when thinking about how they're imaging themselves on social media, especially when tagging and posting friends and things like that as well. We still have colleges that will look up social media on occasion. I think everyone's really familiar, maybe 2 years ago, with what happened at Harvard, where there was this admitted student group that was posting all these very crude images and other aspects about particular cases, and Harvard just went ahead and said, well, we don't need you, and just withdrew all their applications and kind of left those students in. And that was after those students had graduated. So imagine figuring out those types of things after you've graduated, you're planning to attend, and now you don't have anywhere to go. So we bring this up because it's critically important that we continue to remind the boys about this. Especially with all the devices that are out there and how easy and accessible it is. We try to remind them on an ongoing basis. We try to utilize stories and news articles because it seems like every year there's something new that's causing students to basically lose opportunities. So just kind of remind them that, you know, colleges still look at these things, and just because they're on some secure site doesn't necessarily mean that their thoughts and ideas are secure. So we just want to make sure that we're putting that warning out there. as Michelle said, stay on track with grades. I think last year in the summer, we were probably called by more schools, and it wasn't like last year's class was bad. They're just keeping more of a mindset and an eye open for it. We receive our transcripts. Your boys graduate, you know, on June 4th. We send the transcripts on the 5th, and we have to send those final high school transcripts in order for them to verify that your sons have graduated from the academy. And a lot of times that's when they're assessing and looking, and when they see grades drop significantly, they're sending emails out to your sons and saying, what happened? A perfect example was the University of Minnesota. They sent out about, I think they said 5,000 emails out to people that said basically, what happened with your grades? They gave an opportunity to explain, but at the same time, they're watching. And so we use that as an example. We also use an example of, I won't name the institution, but basically they took away scholarship dollars because the student's GPA went from the 3.25 threshold to 3.23, and so they took away $2,000 a year. So again, when you're at a threshold and they expect you to maintain that threshold, going down even tenths of a point, they're like, well, you did that to yourself. And at larger institutions, they're probably going to be a little bit more stern with that. But it's just something to kind of keep in mind as you start talking to your boys. Especially when you say $2,000 a year, that's $8,000 you just lost just because you didn't want to turn in a couple of assignments your senior year. So we continue to remind them about that. And I bring up examples every year, but it's always helpful if you can help out. Senior grades, AP exams, we already said that they matter. And then we automatically send final high school transcripts. And even the colleges will email and almost scare the boys. They're strongly worded emails and they're done that way intentionally, but tell them to always check in with us before thinking that we didn't submit the information on their behalf. A lot of times they're taking in thousands of materials and they're more quick to say, we need this, instead of verifying that they've received it. I know some people have already said that they've gotten emails about, hey, so-and-so says they need my final high school transcript, and I said, hey, it's not even fourth quarter yet, you haven't graduated, so I can't send it. So those types of conversations we're having with the boys, but just know that the colleges are kind of aggressively asking for this information because they know our boys too, they need to ask for it several times.
Any questions for us? Thank you.
All right, good evening. Just one thing for yearbook today. Senior awards and activities. The email is scheduled to go out either today or tomorrow. Your senior will get an email, and you will also get that same email as well. The awards and activities are basically underneath their picture in the yearbook where it says, I was involved in all these activities from 7 through 12 or 9 through 12, and then also list any school awards or things like that that they've won. One thing to note, the deadline to this was changed to adjust for winter sports going to state. So by Friday, March 27th, that's the Friday after spring break, that's when your senior should have that in. It is first and foremost their responsibility to be filling that out, but you know your sons better than anyone else, and if you think your son needs a little extra help kind of gathering all that information, please feel free to do it with them. The form can be filled out by your son himself, it can be filled out with you together, however you want to make sure that gets done, if you want them. It's pretty easy, it's basically every activity that St. Thomas offers, and then there's check boxes going across for grades 7 through 12. They just go through and they check, I was in this activity, etc. And then following that, in April, you and your son will receive a screenshot of their, basically like their senior portrait, their name, the activities and awards. We do go through and check to make sure all the activities and awards requested and like listed are actually factual. The athletic and department does go through that as well to check and verify for that. But in April, you'll get that kind of screenshot of this is what it will look like in the yearbook. And if we don't hear back from you, we'll move forward with it. We'll give you kind of a timeline. But do please make sure you check like name spelling, middle names, last names, first names, activities, awards. That's kind of your chance to ask any of those questions if something got cut and you didn't think it should. An example of this would be, this was PJ Dorn from last year. His activities, his awards. There are blank boxes for you to fill in anything. So like If your son was an Eagle Scout, that is something we do recognize, even though it's not necessarily an STA activity. Feel free to go through past yearbooks if you want to kind of check to see what other people have put down for awards as well. But basically, activities and awards by the end of March. So, any questions? Perfect, we'll look forward to doing that.
I will encourage you to double check your son's submission. Every year, I learned of new activities that I had no idea he had. So if you find something that just doesn't sound right, it's because it's not. So
Can we see a link of what they filled out?
that's what I think Stephanie was.
Oh.
I don't think you get copied on their answer, but in April, that's when we'll send out, basically it looks like this, but it'll be the more formal, like yearbook, like with their name's bigger and it has their rank. But you'll get that in April, and that's your chance. Your senior will get it, and you will get it to look at it and say, hey, this, I don't think this is right, or like, hey, this award wasn't included, why? Or you check the name spelling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every year we have a team of people going to verify the various awards and things like that. And it inevitably leads to some sort of conflict where it's like they put, I'm a 6-time state wrestling champion. And you're like, well, no. But you did wrestle in 9th grade, so you can put that every year. So any help would be great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shannon Hansen, and ain't fun. If you go to the section on senior party, frequently asked questions, what is a senior party? The senior party is a long-standing tradition that has been around forever with STA, and so the ceremony goes from 7:30 to 8:30. They all kind of stand outside the cathedral, take photos, hang out for a while. They come, you drop them off from there to STA, where they'll, have a change of, we'll send all this information out, but basically change of clothes with them, come to the party, we'll have a big dinner planned, they'll eat their meal there with us, and then throughout the night are various activities. The party starts from, the last time they can check in is 10:30, and then dinner starts, we're going till 3:30, 3:45 this year, and tons of information will come to follow, but during that time frame they'll eat, tons of games, casino, activities. It's a really fun night that we've been working on for a while, and we're really looking forward to it. We have our committees, we've already been meeting, fun ideas, and it's going to be a really fun night.
So I'll just touch on how it's funded. You all paid already through Smart Tuition. There was a fee in there included to sponsor the senior party. But we are asking, of course, for more donations in the form of cash that could go straight to the business office earmarked for the senior party. We will also be, the prize committee is going to put together an Amazon wish list. They do a big raffle and everything. So we'll send that out when it's done in the next couple of weeks, and you can go onto Amazon, specifically choose the prize you want to purchase, and it'll be sent directly to St. Thomas and stored here until the party. And then the other thing, we'll probably be asking for some beverage donations when you guys all come for, hopefully you come for the senior luncheon that they're going to talk about next, the senior mom luncheon that's on May 12th. So, one last thing, John Rivers, who's here tonight, he has volunteered to put at the end of the night, the boys will end it in here with a video. And John is graciously putting it together for all of our boys. So you may have seen in some of our senior party news to upload your photos to Vidagami. We asked like 5 photos of your sons, no more than 5, because John, that would be a lot to deal with. There is a folder for the senior video. So just the directions are all in our emails already. If you could, it's too long to explain right now, but if you're familiar with Vidagami, you can probably find your way right to the senior video folder and put them in there. So 5 photos, and maybe even your boys want to do them. They probably will want to choose the photos anyway. So
By May 1st.
by May 1st, yes. So John has time to put that together.
And they're just high school pictures, right? They're just
Yeah,
sticking
and
there.
the whole time, if they were here at in 7th grade, they can put them in then. But and it would be nice to have kind of a range of photos. So yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? And your tons of information will be coming.
Oh, help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you want to do that?
A sign-up genius, of course, we're going to need lots of help the night of the party. We're kind of set right now, but if, anybody's welcome to join us. But There'll be a Sign Up Genius coming out to sign up for the night of the party. Lots of hands will be needed.
We love night owls that stay up late.
I will say, it's one of the rare nights where your sons don't mind you being around. They'll interact with you. It's kind of fun. So don't be shy about volunteering, spending some time there. Boys are in this weird state of euphoria that they don't mind at all. So don't let that be a hindrance.
All right, you guys are on the home stretch, if you can believe it or not. We're throwing some dates at you, and I know we've got a lot of dates, but some of ours are still TBD because you know how busy our calendars are at St. Thomas, so we're still trying to squeeze some events in just for moms, which would be really nice, and we know you're really busy, so we're gonna hopefully have a couple of them. If you can just pick one to go to, it'd be awesome, but I know your calendars are busy. The white pants, which is kind of a big deal, maybe you have one more year in those white pants, and you don't even need to think about it, but you might want to get them out to see if your son needs another pair. We are going to have the used white pants sale actually in here on March 25th. The day before, and we'll have this in the newsletter too, we're going to have it taken. So you get any pants that you want to donate and get rid of, you can drop them off, and we're going to measure them and get them all ready for the sale the next day. Typically, the boys just come, and we'll let you know how much they are. They'll come with cash or a check, and they'll get their own pants. You don't have to be here. The boys will do it right after school. We're trying to plan another Mom's Alumni. So when you leave the school, if this is your last kid, we need to get your information. So that if you'd like to get information about alumni events, once you're gone, please feel free to email me that, and we'll again have something in the newsletter so you can reach out to us, because we want to keep you and keep you and have you involved with the school. We are still doing the Mother's Morning of Prayer. We're talking about maybe if we don't do it during the week, maybe we do a Saturday night. People's work schedules maybe Saturday would be better, and that's the event that we do with Viz. We usually start out with a mass, and then have some sort of educational opportunity for us moms. And then the luncheon, and I'm going to have Robin talk about that. Robin.
Hello, I'm Robin Corbo. The Mother's Son Luncheon is it's a special luncheon, but we want to make sure that we point out that it's not just for mothers. It might be for guardians, a grandmother, a special woman in your son's life. So all important women to your son are invited to come. The one caveat is that everyone has to pay for their meal, so it is $25 a person, and that includes paying for your cadet. So we will be sending out information with a link so you can register online and go ahead and pay online. If people do forget to pay, I think we'll be able to collect at the event or prior to, but we would prefer if you pay online. It is Tuesday, May 12th, and we have a mass first for the women, and then the cadets will end up meeting the moms and guardians and special women at 12:15, and then we end up concluding by 2:45. And we are catering it with Lake Elmo Inn. So it's a really nice luncheon. And if you have any questions, please let us know. This is put on by the Mother's Club. And hope that a lot of the special women can attend.
Thank you. So the mother guardian, can it be like me and my mom?
Yes.
Or so it can be more than one?
Yes.
person? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Any special woman is
Okay.
invited.
Is that his last day? It is. It's a early release day.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I had one more. So, if you have uniforms that you want to donate, you just want to get rid of them, get them out of your house. We are going to have some drop-off dates after graduation where you can do that, whether it's blouse coats or pants or shirts. And you know, when the blouse coats, it's a consignment, so you will get money back once that coat sells at the used uniform sale in the summer. So we'll have some days. I think that the night of the party might just be a little too crazy to drop off uniforms. So we're trying to think of ways that we can get them and give you an opportunity to get rid of them after that. And then just to contact me if you're on the day for the alumni club. Thank you.
Good evening, Mike D'Agostino. I know a lot of you. I want to just give a recap. First of all, I'm glad I called the Mother's Club because I always hold them in highest esteem. We don't go near as far as they do, so we appreciate the Mothers Club. But I thought some of the fathers and even the mothers might want to appreciate kind of a recap of what we've done so far this year, what's left, and give you an idea of all the energy that the Fathers Club puts out. We try to give something back to the school. So just from August to end of February, we've had over 17 spotlight games, which is, I think, a record. We've had 5 First Friday masses, which I still encourage your son and father and son to come to. We've had 4 general membership meetings with great keynote speakers. Mother-son dance, of course, I think was a big hit, and we just had trivia night a couple weeks ago. From now until the end of the year, we have 3 to 4 spotlight games. So we have a baseball, a lacrosse, and a track game. We have 3 more First Friday masses. So if you haven't gone with your son throughout the 4 years here, do one. It actually is a pretty special time, I think. So it's the first Friday of every month. We have the Father-Son Banquet, which you talked about, and I wanted to highlight that Steve, of course, is the chair, and he's done a great job. He's done it for 2 years before this, so he's an expert. A couple things to note on that. The registration just went up. It's $32 a person, and we cap it at $64. So if you have father, son, or 2 sons, it's still $64. So we try to bake that in that we don't burden families. If you have a financial need, on the registration page, it will tell you who to go to at the business office. So we encourage everyone. There's also, if you know, and by the way, father-son goes from, it's middle school all the way through senior year. So if you know someone or you have a middle schooler, you're welcome to come, and everyone's welcome to come there. If you know of a boy that doesn't have a father figure in their life, that just doesn't have someone they'd be comfortable going with, or for whatever reason, reach out to the mother if you know them, or contact me or Steve and let us know, because we want to get every boy engaged that can go. And I know there's some people in awkward situations, and we don't want them not to come because they don't have a dad in the home. And lastly, on that point, we give out several awards there. One of them is the Archbishop Roach Volunteer Award, and we're looking for any nomination of people you think, fathers who have donated a lot of their time, great volunteers back to the school. If you've got a name, just throw me an email, send it to Steve, anybody, throw a name out there, and we'll consider it at the executive committee meeting. So appreciate that. So that's the Father-Son Banquet. We have the community beer garden. We staff the beer garden at the Friday night auction weekend, so that's fun. We do Millball valet parking, and if you haven't done that, that's a hoot. And the incentive for doing that is afterwards we go to a smoker down at the garage across from the Roach residence, and we've been cooking meat all day on our beautiful grill, and there's going to be plenty of beer and just hanging out with the guys. So it's a great time to come after you do a little valet parking. And we have 2 general membership meetings. The next one will be in March. Mr. Westlake's going to host it in the Innovation Center. So we get to check out the car or the bike they're building. We get to check out the new water laser jet and all the fun stuff. You get to play around with some tools and whatever. So we love to see dads come to that. And with all that work we did, we've given out to date about $16,000 in money back to the school. And I'll just highlight a couple of the big ones. We split the cost of the new coaches' headsets for the football team, which cost us about $3,500. Which we split that with the 3A club. We built the large altar. If you've ever been to a mass in the gym, whether it's the Archbishop Mass or Grandparents Mass, that altar was built because we didn't have an altar actually for large masses. They were usually using that table with the cloth on it. So it's a beautiful wooden, made out of maple and all that. So it's really beautiful. So if you get a chance, check that out. We give $2,600 in burgers away. That's over 800 burgers. So you figure St. Thomas has how many, 600 kids? I think the football team got the other 200. So they had multiple games they were just coming after. It was unbelievable. But anyway, so we've given away a lot of burgers to about every team. Actually, that's kind of a policy now. All the teams get one thing where we feed the team afterwards. So it's kind of a fun tradition we kind of started. We bought 2 portable bars, which, no big deal. But if you're a trivia night, the school has to rent bars. For all these events, they rent bars, and we bought 2. They're $4,000. They're industrial grade, but they're really cool with the logo on it. So that's something we've given back that I think will be a legacy for the school to have for a long time. And we supported the J-Rob wrestling program, which is a huge event this last weekend. I've never seen it so full. I've never seen the gym so full of people in my life till this Saturday. But that helps support not only charity, but also is a great a great thing for the school that I open up to the community. And the last thing is we bought senior rosaries. So every senior at their night at graduation get a rosary from the Father's Club. Keep it with them. So, and we're looking at 2 other gifts: some AV equipment for Mr. Giroux back there. He's made a pitch, and he's making a pitch tomorrow morning, I believe. And we're looking at doing another pitch for another donation. So we try to give back our money that you guys help us raise, and hope it's good. So any questions about the? Oh, I do have one selfish request. If you know my son Joe, Joe lost his blouse coat. It was in the military room, he swears, and it's gone. So I have no blouse coat for my son. If you could have your sons check their closets and see if his blouse coat exists, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other personal requests? That's great. Call it senioritis, call it senior slack, call it senior slide. Right? I'm sure you're not experiencing it at home. Starting to see a little bit here. That was sarcastic, of course. I'm sure you've seen it at home. The boys really are doing well, and I don't want to not stress that during this time here too, because it's been a terrific year. They've been a great class. A lot of really positive things have taken place this year, academically, athletically, and through activities. I think even their participation in some of the younger kids' retreats, their buy-in to some of the things that we've done here, whether through peer mentors or even some of the informal interactions you see them having around the building with each other and with the younger kids. I think that's where the strength of the Brotherhood lies, and with this class, you see it every day. So I don't want that to go unsaid as well. It is the stretch run, and we start the year in the summer in this room with them, and we talk about what to expect for the year, what their goals as a class, what their goals are individually for the year. We talk about legacy, and we talk about how we want everyone on the Cathedral steps come June 4th. We're doing pretty well right now. And really all this information is to make sure that we're on the same page so that we can all achieve that goal that we collectively have. So any questions or concerns, things that along the way that you need guidance on, or you want to just double check if what your son's telling you is true, we get those all the time. Very happy to answer those questions and partner with you to make the end of the school year hopefully as positive and impactful on your son as the previous 3.5. So thank you for your attendance tonight. I really appreciate it, and we'll follow up with all these materials in an email, okay? Thank you.